All right. In his opening, he cited Philip Plath's "Don't be a dick's" speech, and I agree. We shouldn't be a dick. We shouldn't be, Jesus is a cunt. And I said that in my talk. There's certainly a difference between a firebrand and an asshole. All right. He says that firebrand approach tends to go nowhere, but I find the opposite is generally true. I find that being the diplomatic approach assumes that discourse will always be rational, and as all of us know, that's most often not the case. So we have to find some other way to change minds, and I think the best way to do that is to alter the environment. We're a social species that needs acceptance and needs camaraderie with other people. And when there's shame on the line for being incorrect, that really hits people in a way that I think they're always open to, just naturally. I have no idea why I wrote overuse plus irrational equals bad, but that's true. The effects of informal social controls are very well documented in how shame and humiliation get people to actually do research. Chris Livesay is one of the leading social scientists on this. He's got a couple articles in Culture and Identity that highlight this in tremendous detail. But Ben is also right when he says that mockery is risky. It really is. But the problem is it's risky for them too. And the things I talked about are what keep it from turning on us. As long as their position is ridiculous and you are familiar with the facts, it's really hard to lose out there. Imagine a Christian saying, mocking you, like, the Bible never says that to kill people for working on Sunday, and then you show them where it does. This destroys whatever authority told them that and sets you up as one. Of course, if you got the facts wrong, it has the opposite effect. So there is a lot to use through the misuse of anger, but that's only through its misuse. Properly applied anger and mockery still has a tremendous utility. He says, verbal aggression reduces the desire to talk. The most popular blog out there is P.Z. Myers. Lots of religious people comment on his blog. He gets tons of email from religious people. My blog, and once more, Ben knows this perfectly well, brings in all sorts of religious people. I wish it brought in less of them, because I feel obligated to respond to all of them. Okay. He says, a minority can't marginalize a majority, but consider sexists in the early 20th century, or racists in the early 20th century. Mockery and social ridicule were a huge part in marginalizing them, and it was from the minority. It really does work, so long as you have all the facts straight. Excuse me. He also says they're entrenching en masse, which for me is fine. I have no problem if religious people want to entrench themselves in church for fear that when they step out into the public, they're going to be accountable. And that's an ideal world for me. I think that suits our side, not theirs. On generalities, he's right. There are some religious people who do try, and when the discourse can be rational, we should be diplomats. But I find a majority of the time, what religious people tend to do is they tend to find the first apologetic site they can and regurgitate that. And the problem is when we don't make it sting when they do that, we're allowing them to think that this is good research. I want people to worry that if they pull from a bad source and come regurgitate it to me, that there's going to be public accountability. People are going to be watching, and it's going to be embarrassing. And once more, mockery and ridicule are a big part of that. Talking about religion, it's not just that we firebrands are opposed to religion. Like everyone here, we're opposed to irrationality and unreason. That's what the real problem is. The reason religion draws so much of our fire is because nothing canonizes irrationality as a virtue like most religions, secular humanism, of course, being a wonderful exception. But we need to go after the things that are telling people that irrationality is okay, and that's why we're going after religion, and all religions suffer from that. So I think that's a generality that should stick. And I said that shame can backfire, but so long as we're careful about it, it still works. Outrage in the movement. Okay, 30 seconds. It's fueled social movement, literally every social movement in the history of our nation, because social movements are hard to work. They take time, they take leadership. Why would you do them unless you were angry about something? We need that overt anger. It's instrumental to the change of social mores. I think that's my time. Thank you.